All right, so this is a quick walkthrough of our digital product passport compliance roadmap and our service of getting you compliant for the EU digital product passport regulation in time and with as little effort as possible. What we can see here is how we split every single project, every single DPP project. And you can see down here we've got the weeks just to indicate the timeline, and then we've got two distinct phases. One is marked blue and one is marked orange. So phase one is the implementation. That's a one-off project that we have to go through so that we implement a foundation for your DPP moving forward. And then the orange bit, and you can see the corresponding elements down here, those are the elements that will just keep being relevant even beyond the initial implementation. Now, let's zoom into this blue section first, because obviously that's where everything starts. First off, we've got catalog and requirement scoping. So what does this mean? It really means we take a look at your full SKU catalog. We take a look at every single category that you sell, and we identify what exactly are the DPP requirements that you have to meet. In other words, what is the data that you need to be compliant with the regulation? And that can vary depending on what type of products we're talking about. Some of your products may not even be in scope of the DPP. And all of that is what we figure out in this first step. Then once we've done that, we can move on to creating your data schema. That data schema is going to power the QR codes that you'll print on your labels. And this will vary a little bit between every brand, just because mostly because we'll identify different requirements for everyone, but also because obviously your portfolio is unique and therefore the data schema is going to be unique as well. Once we've done that, then we get to what's probably the most manual bit of all of this, which is the data sourcing and gap mapping. So essentially what we do here is we help you track down all the required data points that you need for your DPP, whether that's product identifiers, manufacturer details, details on the composition of your products, aspects such as where your products come from. So there's going to be a lot of data sourcing that needs to happen, and we are essentially your partner to facilitate that. We'll need your help for this, because otherwise realistically it's not possible for us to do this unless we have access to your systems, unless we have access to your suppliers. But the idea is that we drive this for you so that we reduce your work as much as possible. Repair and end-of-life content is just a very distinct piece of the digital product passport, where it's important that we, for every single product, create content, written content about repairability and end-of-life aspects of each and every product. There's a couple of things to pay attention to. We're going to do that for you, so nothing for you to worry about, but just so you have that visibility. Once we've done that, then we are ready to create the QR codes. And we're going to take care of all the technical aspects of that. We'll just provide you with the relevant QR code for each and every product that you can then later use for your labels and potentially on your website. Obviously, these QR codes, and that's the whole idea of the digital product passport, are linked to landing pages. Those landing pages are where you display all that data that the digital product passport holds. Again, we'll take care of the technical side of things. You just need to know that at this point of the project, we make sure that those are up and running so that they are accessible for consumers that scan your QR codes. You can see here they are going to be, they can be branded, and we can make sure that they are in line with your brand guidelines to make sure they are on brand. Then the second last step is DPP training. So this is where we hop on a call with you and ideally the core members of your product development team, maybe your marketing team as well, just to educate them on what it takes to maintain the DPP, what things for you to look out for as we complete this implementation project, because we want to make sure that your team has full awareness about the implications and the responsibilities that you have that come with having the QR codes, the DPP on your products. And once that's done, we can move on to go live, which is obviously the most exciting part of this. This is where we turn on your QR codes, we turn on your landing pages, and you can start adding them to your labels. Okay, and then we want to talk about the ongoing support briefly. So the ongoing support includes the following 4 aspects. It's number 1, passport hosting. So these landing pages that consumers can access, they obviously need to be hosted. We need to make sure they're up all the time so that if you ever get audited, whenever a consumer scans those QR codes, those landing pages are there, and we take care of, again, the technical backend. So that is an ongoing aspect. New QR code generation. Whenever you have new products coming out, then those need to get new QR codes. So we can help you with that in a similar fashion on a smaller scale than what we did during the implementation projects, i.e. making sure that we have all the data, creating that entry in the system, and then generating that QR code for you and your marketing team to add it to the labels. Flexible hourly support, pretty self-explanatory. Whenever you need any additional support, any manual work that needs to be done, then that is something that we can happily help with. And we are, obviously, if you need, that ranges really from everything from things like data collection all the way through to potentially upgrading your landing pages if you feel like there are changes that need to be made to the layout, to the design. Those are all things where that we can help and that are covered under the flexible hourly support. And then lastly, there's ongoing regulatory monitoring. So the digital product passport is part of the ESPR framework that the EU set out, and there's constantly changes that are happening. There's constantly new rollouts of new requirements, which are important to keep track of. So our job is making sure that you stay compliant all the time, and that's covered under ongoing regulatory monitoring. Just to give a rough sense of timelines, you can see we've estimated this, or we estimate this as a 9-week turnaround time for the implementation project. That's an average, and that can vary quite drastically. Just be wary of that. It can be faster, it can be slower. It very much depends on A, the breadth of your portfolio, and B, the accessibility and availability of the data that we require. And then the ongoing support, obviously this is just meant to indicate that this is essentially permanent, and there's no real endpoint for that. I hope that's helpful. Obviously, if you have further questions, please just reach out to us. But ideally, you've got a rough idea now of what we can do for you, how we can help you, and what you need to do to get compliant in time.